Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ulrike and I'm a K-beauty and skincare content creator and just general skincare enthusiast. And today I wanted to give you a little review of a very recent launch from The Ordinary that I was lucky enough to test out a couple of weeks before the launch. So I already have a good idea about the product and just wanted to share basic facts about it, the key ingredients, and give you my experiences with the product. And we are talking today about the Ordinary Aloe 2% NAG 2% solution. So the Ordinary Aloe 2% NAG 2% solution. This comes in its typical 30 ml drop applicator bottle, as most of these water-based serums do. Now they call it a solution. It's a serum, okay? It's just a serum. It's a runny sort of gel type texture. I'll show you a texture shot later somewhere in the video. I have to see where I edited it in, but I've already done a texture shot so you can see what the texture looks like. And this is basically a hydrating serum that also contains active ingredients that can help with especially hyperpigmentation, especially one type of hyperpigmentation, which is PIH. The serum is mostly targeted at people with blemish-prone skin, acne-prone skin, people who have oilier skin types, and people who are prone to inflammation or redness. I'm going to talk about the 3 key ingredients in this formula in a second, but for now I'm just going to give you a sort of general overview so that you know whether or not this could be the right product for you. So I'm kind of just parroting, I guess, what The Ordinary says about the products themselves. So in case you don't know what PIH stands for, it's post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And it is a form of hyperpigmentation that happens usually after you've had some form of wound, or for instance, your acne marks are basically PIH. So any type of, I guess, inflammatory trauma to the skin can cause PIH, because your skin then activates melanin production as a form of, I guess, support for the wound healing, and that can unfortunately lead to these dark marks. They can be a sort of brownish black almost. They can be purple, they can be red. And unfortunately, people with darker skin types are more prone to that type of hyperpigmentation because, of course, they already have more melanin in their skin. But us white people can get this as well. I actually have a little bit of PIH here where I think I had some kind of scrape or something. And yeah, I always notice that there's a little dark spot here. You can't see it, I don't think, but I can see it when I zoom in. And it sits really meanly sort of in between 2 wrinkles. So it's just like, this is the spot that I'm eyeing while I'm using this serum to see if it's going to do anything for it or not. Because this is basically the marketing claim that especially people with PIH, especially those with oilier skin who have acne marks and sort of the PIH that comes from the acne healing off and unfortunately leaving those acne marks, that these people will find help with this product predominantly through one of the key ingredients, and that is NAG. All right, so let's talk about the key ingredients. 2 of them are, of course, in the name, and it's the aloe vera and then the NAG or NAG. Let's start with the NAG, which is, I don't know why, but it always sounds like nagging. So I find it weird to talk about NAG. But trust me, the full name is even worse. So I'm probably going to stick to NAG. So NAG, NAG. The full name is N-acetylglucosamine, and yes, I had to write that down because I'm not sciencey, so all of these words are pretty much tongue twisters for me. Also because it's always difficult, because I'm a German native speaker, to then say non-English words in the way that the English would, but anyway. So N-acetylglucosamine, or NAG, NAG for short. So NAG or NAG is basically an amino acid sugar molecule. It is a natural part of the body, and it is in fact a precursor to hyaluronic acid, or it is a part of the process to biosynthesize hyaluronic acid. Again, not a scientist, so this is my rudimentary understanding of the ingredient. As such, it is a humectant, so it has hydrating properties, and it also is apparently has antioxidant qualities. So the information I got about the ingredients I mostly got from Inky Decoder, which I think is a pretty decent database for ingredients in skincare. So according to Inky Decoder, there have been studies on the efficacy of NAG on boosting collagen and reducing wrinkles, and apparently they're quite promising. So it could also be a good one for anti-aging. Now, the main reason I think why this has been added into this solution, which again is mostly targeted towards people with hyperpigmentation issues due to acne, so PIH, is because NAG is quite similar to another very famous hyperpigmentation combating ingredient, and that's kojic acid. Just like kojic acid, it is a tyrosinase inhibitor, and tyrosinase is an enzyme that causes the release of melanin. So it inhibits the release of melanin, and thus it can help fade those dark spots. Now, this solution from The Ordinary contains 2% NAG or NAG, and from what I gather, that is a fair amount that works for PIH. Usually, I've read a couple of sources, and usually it seems to be the consensus that percentages between 2 and 5% is kind of the ideal sweet spot. So this should be quite effective for fading hyperpigmentation. Now, the best ingredient combination, if you want to specifically target hyperpigmentation, is NAG together with niacinamide. So you might want to consider mixing in a little bit of a 10% niacinamide serum, the one from The Ordinary. I don't like that one that much, to be honest, so I would use the Geek and Gorgeous one, the Bee Balm. Yeah, usually with niacinamide, 10% is actually too much, so I would advise you to just use a couple of drops and mix it into this one. So you've got the combined power of the niacinamide, which also works for hyperpigmentation, pore care, etc., plus NAG. Now, what NAG can also help with is redness. And is an anti-inflammatory, and apparently, again, very promising results when it comes to redness-prone skin, which is one of my #1 skin issues. So that's why I got very excited when I joined the live event from The Ordinary and they introduced this product, because I'm still always looking for a perfect serum to help with my redness. So again, what can NAG do? It can help with hyperpigmentation, especially PIH. It can potentially boost collagen production and thus help smooth out wrinkles. It is an antioxidant. It is also anti-inflammatory, and it can help with redness. Have I forgotten one? No, I think that's about it. Oh yeah, and it's hydrating. I forgot that, which leads me to the next key ingredient that I have to say I'm a bit surprised that The Ordinary makes such a big deal about it, because it's not that exciting to make it like part of the title of the name of the product. But anyway, that's just my opinion. So the 2% aloe vera leaf juice. So aloe vera leaf juice, it's just a humectant. It's a water-grabbing, hydrating ingredient that is perfectly fine, but I don't think that exciting. I think the NAG is much more exciting. So it hydrates your skin. Plus the NAG, of course, also has hydrating properties. So yeah, you get a really good basic hydrating serum just from these two alone. plus all of the other interesting things that NAG can do. However, there's also a third very interesting ingredient here, and I have to say I'm surprised that that one isn't more highlighted in the marketing of the product, because that one actually excited me the most as a woman in her 40s, because it is a very interesting anti-aging ingredient. So the third key ingredient in this solution or serum is palmitoyl pentapeptide 4. You could tell that I had to glance at my notes because all of these names making my tongue hurt. But yeah, palmitoyl pentapeptide 4, also known as Matrixyl. And of course, the Ordinary already has a Matrixyl solution. I've never tried it, but I've always kind of eyed it up because, again, I am 44, so I'm always looking for good anti-aging solutions. And this one, I know a lot of creators 40 plus really swear by. A lot of people say it's really good. So I looked a little bit at sort of the research out there about it, again, through an amateur lens. I'm not a scientist, but from how I understand it, Matrixyl actually has quite a bit of research behind it. Some studies even claim, apparently, that its collagen boosting and wrinkle smoothing abilities are almost comparable to that of retinol. So it's often kind of seen as a less aggressive retinol alternative. It is a peptide, and peptides, of course, are all the rage in anti-aging skincare these days. And it is a pretty well-researched one. So again, it actually seems to have some solid science behind it as a wrinkle smoothing and collagen boosting ingredient. And honestly, if you've been eyeing up the Matrixyl, but you also wanted from the Ordinary, but you also wanted something for hyperpigmentation, then you can now find a combination product for that. So what do I actually think about this product? Now, first of all, if you are new here, you might not know this about me, but I'm actually not the Ordinary fangirl. People who've followed me for a long time already know this from my podcast, from my blog, from these videos, that I don't always get the hype. I really don't like the Ordinary Niacinamide serum. I didn't like the salicylic acid serum. I really didn't like any of the vitamin C products that I've tried from them. So I'm always ready to like their stuff because I do really like the overall philosophy of the Ordinary, and I think it's great to have all these affordable options at the ready. But I also don't hesitate to say when I don't like a product. This was actually sent as PR, but nevertheless, if I wouldn't like it, I would definitely tell you, because that's also something that people should know about me. I don't accept a lot of PR, and it will definitely not lead me to rate something higher, right? So that just as a little context for this review. So this, I have combo skin, but I have mature combo skin, so I do always need a little bit more hydration now than I used to in my 20s. This is a very light texture, and I have to say the texture really positively surprised me. One of the main gripes I always have with the Ordinary products is that I find that texture is often very unpleasant, and I prefer something like Geek and Gorgeous. Now this one, really nice texture. This really applies very smoothly, and it doesn't feel as tacky or sticky as some of the older formulas from the Ordinary. Looking at you here, niacinamide serum, which I find so unpleasant. This is a lot runnier, a lot silkier. It still has a bit of tackiness when you apply it to the skin, but I feel that it sinks in super nicely. It also gives very nice hydration. However, definitely predominantly for people with oilier to combo skin types. If you are dry skinned, this will probably not be enough for you in terms of hydration or moisture, I would say. Something I forgot to mention earlier is that NAG also has a slightly exfoliating effect, similar to a very mild AHA. And I certainly notice that when I apply this. It doesn't give you the full tingle that you get from a really super intense exfoliating product, but you do kind of notice that something is working on the skin. I do also think that even after just around 3 weeks, having used this every day, because I really wanted to review it and test it out, I can see that it does tend to make my skin smoother overall. I haven't used any other exfoliants at the moment, again, in order to test out its effectiveness. And I do feel it does a really good job, very lightly, but noticeably smoothing out my texture issues. I would kind of compare this to, if you've used that, the Rovectin Clean Ampoule, which contains LHA, which is a very, very light and very well tolerated exfoliant. It is not super extreme, certainly not comparable to any of the glycolic acid solutions the Ordinary offers, but you will notice it. And apparently, a NAG is mild enough to be used even on rosacea-prone skin. Especially interesting, I would say, for rosacea-prone skin, because it also, again, has that redness fighting ability. And this is where I really started liking the product. As I said, I do struggle a lot with redness, and I mean a lot, especially now during hay fever season. My skin is basically, it's always red. You can even see it in the videos, especially as the videos progress. I always start seeing like redness and hives appearing here, because I'm also allergic to dust, and the lighting attracts a lot of dust, and I get a lot of redness sort of here. This, gotta say, I am impressed. So far, my favorite redness combating product has been APAT from Geek and Gorgeous. I still definitely like APAT, but I would say this is pretty comparable. The effect is almost immediately. Again, it's maybe not super dramatic. I don't want to hype you up in a way that might make you feel disappointed when you try it, but you will notice that it really takes down the redness. I would say I go from kind of angry red in the mornings to maybe like an acceptable pink. That's kind of the level we're talking here. But I absolutely can see that, yes, it helps with redness, which is very exciting to me. The thing that I also really like about this is that it is just I tolerate this very, very well. I really have had trouble with certain The Ordinary products that I think are just too highly, the dosage of the actives is just too high, and it can really irritate my skin. This one has so far, again, 3-ish weeks that I've used it daily, has not irritated my skin. I would say this is I have to be careful, but I would still claim that this is quite sensitive skin friendly. So if you have oily, acne-prone skin that also tends to get very sensitized from super intense active containing serums or solutions, this could be a really good one for you. Always be careful when you try something new, of course. Don't just put it on your face, patch test, etc. if you're doing well with it. But truly, dare I say it, The Ordinary did really well with this. They really impressed me. And again, that's not easily done, because I'm always a bit skeptical when I try a new product. But I find it hydrating. I find that it really helps with my redness. And I really, really like the texture. And so far, it's been very sensitive skin friendly. Now, when it comes to the hyperpigmentation and the fading of dark spots, I'll be honest, it's probably too early to tell. I realize that this makes it, in a way, a maybe unfinished review, but I just wanted to already give you a bit of an overview and an explanation of what this product potentially can do, and didn't want to wait another 3 weeks. I will give you an update in a couple of weeks in a video or maybe on Instagram. So far, after 3 weeks, it hasn't done anything noticeable for my hyperpigmentation, but I also don't expect it to, because that usually takes a long, long time before you can see any difference. So for that, watch this space, but just based on the ingredient itself and the research on the ingredient, I think this could be a fantastic one to try out if you have PIH in particular. So to sum this up, because people always get angry at me for rambling on too long, So maybe I'll link a direct skip to the summary thing or whatever. I don't know yet. I'm sorry, I talk a lot. I'm so sorry. I always feel I need to explain everything very carefully. So to sum up, I really like this. I truly do enjoy this very much for my combo skin. I think it gives enough hydration for combo to oily skin. I do think it will probably not be enough for dry skin. And I think it works very, very well for redness. And I also am very hopeful that it will potentially do me good for my hyperpigmentation. This is slightly exfoliating, but not as intensely as other AHAs or BHAs I've tried. And especially if you combine this with niacinamide, I think this could be a fantastic addition to anyone's skincare routine who is acne prone, oily, combo. It can also work for normal or quote-unquote balanced skin, and it could also be a good addition if you in general struggle with hyperpigmentation and haven't quite found something that really works for you. And that was it, my review of the Ordinary Aloe 2% NAG 2% solution, which, surprise, I really, really like. So let me know if you've already tried it. Probably not, because again, it just came out, but maybe you have. Maybe you also were a pre-tester or something like that. And I hope you found this review video helpful. If you're new here, I do a review or any type of topical, often very K-beauty themed video every week, usually Thursday or Friday. And I would love for you to join my growing, can I call it a community? I don't know yet. Maybe it's too early to call it a community, but it would be fantastic if you could subscribe. And also maybe leave a comment or a like. It's also always very appreciated. And I see you again next week with a new video. I already know what I want to talk about. And I hope you will join me again for that. Until then, please take care.